The music in the upscale restaurant throbbed faintly against the polished marble floors, where laughter and clinking glasses filled the air with a sense of indulgent cruelty. The guests tonight were not just rich, they were untouchable. Men in tailored suits, women draped in diamonds, and in the corner, a group of spoiled elites whose boredom demanded new amusements. Among them was a man with two bright teeth and a smile that could slice glass. He was the owner's son, a prince of arrogance. And when he glanced toward the young waitress standing by the counter, a wicked thought lit up behind his eyes. Her name was Lena, quiet, graceful, the kind of woman whose dignity didn't bend, even under the sneers of the wealthy. She worked silently, politely, her dark hair tied neatly back, her gaze avoiding trouble. But trouble had already found her. "Let's make this evening interesting," the man in the blue suit laughed, lifting his glass. "She thinks she's too good for us. Let's see how proud she looks bold." Laughter followed, cruel and sharp. Lena froze. The words hit like a bullet she couldn't dodge. Before she could react, two guards stepped forward, and the crowd began chanting, egging on the twisted performance. Her protests fell into the noise. No one cared about the trembling in her voice or the tears that stung her eyes. To them, she was just part of the night's entertainment. They seated her in a chair under the chandelier, its golden light cruelly bright. The man in the blue suit picked up electric clippers, his grin stretching wide as he approached her. The hum of the blades filled the air like an execution drum. Lena gripped the armrests, her heart pounding so loud she could hear nothing else. Her reflection in the mirror blurred through tears. She saw a girl about to lose more than just her hair. A lock fell, then another. With each pass, laughter erupted. The humiliation cut deeper than the buzzing clippers. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs wouldn't move. She thought of her husband Nikolai, far away, doing business he never talked about, the kind of man people whispered about but never confronted. She'd always known he was dangerous, but she never imagined she'd long for his presence like salvation. By the time the clippers fell silent, Lena's hair lay scattered across the floor like dark silk. Her tears streaked her cheeks, and her trembling hands reached instinctively for her head, but it was gone. Everything that had once made her feel beautiful, stripped away by mockery. The room erupted in cheers and applause, as if they had witnessed a performance. And then everything stopped. The doors swung open, and silence sliced through the laughter like a blade. Boots echoed against the marble, slow, measured, deadly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Nikolai had arrived. His tailored suit was dark as night, his gaze colder than a winter storm. Tattoos crawled up his neck, but it was his eyes, sharp, unforgiving, that froze every man in that room. He didn't shout. He didn't need to. Every person there suddenly remembered who he was. The man who ran the underworld of the city, the man whose name meant the difference between wealth and ruin. And when his gaze fell on Lena, shaved, shaking, humiliated, his jaw tightened so hard a muscle twitched. "Who did this?" His voice was low, steady, terrifying. No one spoke. No one breathed. The man in the blue suit tried to smile, tried to explain, but Nikolai's stare cut through him like steel. The air trembled with the promise of violence. No one saw him move, not really. One second, the man in the blue suit was stammering. The next, he was pinned against the wall, Nikolai's hand gripping his throat with a calm that made it worse. "You think it's funny?" Nikolai's tone was soft, almost conversational. "To take what's mine and make it your game?" The room had gone deathly silent. The only sound was Lena's uneven breathing. Her tears falling freely now, not from fear, but from the shock of seeing him there, the man everyone feared, standing between her and the monsters. The man choked out apologies, excuses about just having fun, about not knowing who she was. Nikolai's eyes darkened. "You didn't need to know who she was. You only needed to know she was human." His fist landed hard. The laughter that once filled the room turned to gasps. He didn't kill the man, but he made sure he would remember. Nikolai turned back to Lena, and for the first time that night, something cracked in his expression. He knelt before her, his large hands trembling slightly as he touched her cheek. I'm sorry, Kotyonok, he whispered, his voice breaking through the tension. I wasn't here. She didn't answer. She just leaned into his touch, the sound of her quiet sobs the only thing real in that whole gilded nightmare. He took off his coat and wrapped it gently around her shoulders, shielding her from their stares. Then he looked at the crowd once more. Every man in this room will pay for tonight, he said, not shouting, just declaring it as fact. And they knew he meant it. He led her out of the restaurant, his arm firm around her, his presence a shield that nothing could pierce. Outside, the night air was cold, but she could finally breathe again. As the lights of the city blurred behind them, she looked up at him and whispered, "You shouldn't have come." He smiled faintly. They should have known better. Back home, he made her tea, his hands gentle in a way that seemed almost foreign to a man like him. "Hair grows back," he murmured. "But what they took, your pride, I'll return tenfold." She touched his hand, and for the first time that night she smiled faintly. Not because she had forgotten, but because she had survived. Their love was not built on softness. It was fire forged through pain and loyalty. And though her head was bare, her spirit burned brighter than ever. If you were moved by Lena's strength and Nikolai's fierce love, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Every story we tell reminds us that pain doesn't define you. How you rise from it does. More stories of power, love, and redemption await you. Don't miss the next one.